sorry. Hopefully we'll get out of here on time tonight. Those of you who are laughing about that. Before I introduce everybody on the couch, just to make a couple of quick announcements about tonight's meeting so that we move along and we get out at a reasonable time. We've got quite a few presenters. So other than our guest speakers, I'm asking the presenters to please stay in the time limit. Try to keep it at least 10 minutes. If you have to go a little bit longer, please do not overstay your time. If you have a question, please raise your hand, because last meeting people were just yelling questions out, yelling out comments, and people that had their hands up couldn't get recognized. So I will recognize everybody. If you have a question, just raise your hands and I will recognize you. Okay, let's introduce our panel.
Mary Ann Gordon, community member and member of Friends of Hartford and Heritage Corporation.
And she is our secretary.
Our second, yes.
Janice Robinson, Edgewood resident. That's it.
And
Good luck on that for next time.
who all?
Janice Robinson.
Jansen is also my coach.
Oh, that's what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
He's my backup.
I'm sorry.
Jim Lyons, past chief of Joppatowne, amongst a lot of other things. Representative Gloria Moon, District of Hartford County, and District B as well.
Gloria Moon, I guess I'm the communicator, I send out your emails, so be sure to put your email address if you want to know when we're meeting.
Yeah, this sign-up sheet should be going around, so. I'm Paula Mullis, I'm your chair.
Hi, everybody, I'm Melissa DeRisca, I'm the new board member to the CAVE.
You're not the detail last month, that makes you one of these boys.
Hi, my name is Diane Pringle, 23-year resident of Edgewood, and I am a new member.
Bob Herzog, Captain Representative.
Okay. So, let's start moving along right away, and, has everybody got a copy of the minutes? You get a copy of the minutes? Anybody else on the board that doesn't have a copy of the minutes? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes, please? Second? Minutes have been approved. Okay. So we will then start immediately with our Sheriff's Department and Lieutenant Petro.
Yep. Okay, so this is April 1st to April 30th, 2022. Top 3 suspicious incident, alarms, and animal complaints. The top 3 calls during the month. It was suspicious incidents 99, alarms 74, and animal complaints at 71 for this year. Check on subject, suspicious incident, and alarms. The check on subject was 107 calls, suspicious incidents at 104, and alarms at 74. The difference in calls for services was 13% reduction. So from 22 to 23, it was 1774 down to 1541. Crashes are down by 45%. 20 and 22, and 11 and 23. There was a question that somebody had last week, or last month, about these being Edgewood and Joppa combined. I don't know who asked that question, but they are combined. Those numbers that I gave you guys last time were combined. Is that good? And you're the secretary now, right? And I just wanted to follow up with 2 things. Somebody asked about West Shore development.
I did.
Yep, so you should have seen an increase in patrol there regarding parking enforcement. So blue sign streets are kind of unique. Green sign streets, we typically, go in there. So I know my guys went in there, I think they wrote, a couple parking tickets, through there. But I think they were kind of like, I would call it like gross violations, not your typical like, they're facing the wrong direction. Because
I actually got Were they, cause the one that I called about is still there with the bad tags?
Is that the Mercedes? Is it Mercedes? So that, we've had that call like 3 separate times, they made contact with the owner there. And I think it's like parked actually in front of their house,
It is,
so it's,
cause I was told at the homeowners association meeting that, if you call the police, or tell the police about it, cause those kind of vehicles are not supposed to be parked there, and it's a public street,
is it a blue sign? I can't remember if it's blue sign or green.
it's green.
It's green, I'll follow up again,
Okay.
you know, with that, but I do know that we went out and, you know, they contacted. And then the other was the van and the car parked on Edgewood, if you notice that's not,
Yeah.
so that should be, that's fixed. And I know we're always down with that, but, I think that's
So
what
would you talked about this before, it keeps going, with nothing to say about it, right on Joppa Farm Road.
I know that we've had that discussion.
Parking on the grass.
I know that something came up, like, I think we went down, we did ticket a vehicle.
You're still doing it, the lights are up the other day.
Yeah, it's right, like across from the library, right?
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 of them all the time.
Yeah, I think we did ticket.
And what gets me is there's places to park on the street and they got a driveway,
Right.
and they park on the grass.
Yeah.
And it's- you're not taking care of those.
Right. Does anybody have anything?
Yes, sir. Does the sheriff's department, you say crashes are 25%.
Yes.
Does the sheriff's department keep a map of where the crashes are located, like hot spots and things?
They do, you know, they like can drop like pins and stuff like that, is that something you're interested in seeing? There's
Yeah,
gonna be
I
a
was
whole
just
bunch of
curious,
95.
I was looking for a map of Hartford County and to see if there's, I live on Route 7 and if there's accidents all the time. And I was just seeing if that was like normal everywhere.
Right, so it does combine the state police and us, but we don't necessarily drop pins for their crashes, if that kind of makes sense.
Oh, I
Because they handle state roads and we handle county roads,
That's right.
but at times we will handle state roads, you know, if they're asking for assistance. Because there's only so many troopers, you know, in the area. So, and they got the whole county, you know, all the state roads. Did anybody else? Yes?
I just wanted to make sure the reporting that you just gave includes violent crimes and reporting from the sheriff's department and the Maryland State Troopers.
No, this is part 1 crimes. If you want me to read those, I can read them out loud if you want, but it's only sheriff's office numbers.
Only sheriff's department numbers?
Yeah, it's what we report.
Okay.
So, I mean, if it's something that you guys are interested in, you can ask.
Well, I'm with the health department, and so when we're doing our reports, it is important for us to know that particular data. We do get it, but I just wanted to know, are we gonna be reporting that at the advisory meetings as well?
So for this is the sheriff's office numbers
Okay,
for this meeting.
okay.
I think you can go online to actually see the UCR report for Hartford County. And I think you can get that through like the FBI.gov.
Right,
And you can
okay.
actually pull like numbers for like zip codes and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I know where we can get them. I just wanted to know what they'll be reporting those
This
at
is
this
sheriff's
meeting.
office.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Ralph, who is not in the country at the moment, asked me to follow up on his question from last month about littering. Have there been any littering citations issued in the last month?
I have to look it up, but, this was littering from a vehicle. His question was unique. I have to pull that up, you know, to see, but I doubt it. You
Okay.
know, cause that's a unique citation, that somebody's writing.
Okay.
Anybody else?
That's another question about the staff. Are there additional chairs?
I was just gonna ask him.
He's gonna unlock
Thank you,
it.
Nancy.
You can unlock it, right?
Yeah, there's some in there. I'll grab it to you.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question, we have any additional chairs?
In the meantime, there's a couple of chairs right there.
Yeah,
If you guys
we'll
wanna
have some up front.
just grab.
You just don't want to walk while you're discussing.
Yeah, I was trying to, both of you said you need a chair up here. Any other questions for our deputies, our sheriff's office? Okay, so much.
All right, I'm gonna try and get that thing.
Oh, wait a minute,
going.
hold on.
This is a question, this is a statement, we cannot hear anything back here.
You have to speak up, speak up.
We can't hear anything.
Okay. So we'll ask our the speakers that are up here to please speak loud enough that everybody in the back can hear them. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So we do have our first guest speaker, I just saw him come in. Welcome. This is Larry Richardson. He's going to give us an update from the Department of Economic Development, which we've been asking about. So Larry, if you come up here, the stage is yours.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome, it's nice to have you. That's all.
I swear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, you can do it, I'll just
No,
give
no,
you the
no.
notes.
You want me to? No, go ahead.
I'm fine.
All right, where are we gonna get extra chairs from?
He has to unlock that here.
Oh, okay.
The more I can keep my stuff in my face off the screen, the better.
All right, we're gonna get some extra chairs, so everybody else can get to you.
Okay, folks, I will try to be loud and I will try to be quick. Sometimes I do one better than the other. For those of you that don't know me, hey, you're lucky. No. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Larry Richardson. I work in our Harford County Office of Economic Development. Our focus primarily there is kind of as it says, economic development is a bit of a broad brush. What we look to do is primarily grow jobs, and grow businesses. We think that by doing that, what we do as well is grow opportunities, we improve neighborhoods, we improve our communities, and we have a better quality of life for what we do. So, just a couple quick things I want to bring you up to speed on. Just some events that are going on that you all may be interested in. I'm just going to run through my list if you don't mind. If I talk too loud, also let me know. I spent time as I tell folks, I made a poor career choice when I was young. I went to law school, and then I really threw my life away and became a lobbyist, but my dog still likes me most of the time. So what we've learned to do is try to say a whole lot in a whole little time. So if I go too fast, let me know. One of the things we have coming up in conjunction with Aberdeen Proving Ground, we're gonna have the Aberdeen AGG demo days. The 19th of May is for youth, the 20th for the overall community. It's gonna allow the students and the public the opportunity to learn about what happens on the installation, and what the RA has to offer. There's some handouts available, I think they should be here already. Plus also too, as I understand it, you get a chance to be up close and personal and watch things go boom. June 10th is going to be a Discovery Center at the Water's Edge Magic of Science Festival. That's going to be at the Toon Building at Hartford Community College, if anyone's interested about that. A couple things too that I want to slide into, just to bring folks up to speed. Some of you may or may not have heard of an issue relative to what the county executive has done as to put a temporary moratorium relative to tourism and funding. Historically, it's been where funding monies have come in from part of a hotel fee that's charged, would then go to various accounts, various entities, nonprofit entities around the county. What the county executive has done is kind of restructured this. We're taking a look at this. Kind of the way we put a hold on what happened with Perryman and big box stores, put a hold on determining distribution of the funds to see just what can be the best use for them. One of the primary thought processes has been to have those funds go back to events that draw people into Harford County, as opposed to day-long events that may not result in any overnight stay. This will help bring people into the county, keep them overnight, visit our county, visit Haverty Grace, visit Bel Air, visit along Route 40. So to recycle the money back into Hartford County. So that's one of the things that we're looking at. Because the overarching goal for tourism has been to increase the number of overnight stays. Just numbers sake, on average, a day tripper spends $98 in Hartford County. Someone who stays overnight spends approximately $1,200. Bit of a difference. So if we can bring folks in and keep them overnight, that's more revenue for the county, more monies that we can then use out to the citizens and the entities within the county. One of the other things that we have just recently put in place is we have, we're taking a look along Route 40. What we're referring to as the Hartford County and the Southern County border, area, so to speak. Pretty much running down 40 from Route 7 to the Baltimore County line. So what we are looking at is what essentially can we do to improve life along Route 40. So what we are literally doing is our goal is to visit in that window from 7 to the Baltimore County line, is to visit every business along 40. Gather a little bit of information about the business, such as how many employees we have, full-time or part-time. Numbers that can help us relative to state grants, federal grants, to help get monies back into the county, specifically along Route 40, to help improve Route 40. So right now, the main person who is walking Route 40, literally, is me. So if you see me, don't hit me. Workers' comp county don't want to pay workers' comp. What we're looking at, pretty much is what we're doing. We're trying to determine, bottom line, what we want to do is we want to improve the quality of life. And there are various gamuts this runs. We know for those down in the Joppatowne area, I'm very firmly convinced that right now, given the fact that that's a state road, but despite that fact that the state has decided that that's an alternative tank testing track for ATG, that road needs to, as we go up 40, you all have seen it, we have a number of used car places that we can go like junkyards. I think we need to try to address, see what we can address. We want to improve, we want to bring jobs to 40, we want to improve quality of life along 40. So that's what we're trying to do. This is not going to be done quickly. Don't expect a result in a month or 2 months or 3 months. I can't offer a first step. But what we're trying to do is to see what we can do to improve along 40. There was a time, and I can remember back when 40 was the main road. 95 didn't exist. 40 was the main road, and that's how you traveled north to south. And this road was a gem. Businesses, a lot of mom and pops existed here. We want to look to be able to get that back to the quality that it was at one time. So that's a whole lot and a whole little. Any questions? Yes,
Yeah, I have a question. Now, you said at what point on 40 are you starting?
Right now, because you can't take a whole bite of the apple, so we're going to start from Route 7 and 40 and work our way down to the Baltimore County line. So I got some Joppatowne, Edgewood,
That's Route 7, right on the corner there.
No. Aberdeen.
Aberdeen. You're talking about, I thought you said Joppa.
No, from the Baltimore County line, it includes Joppatowne, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aberdeen.
Yes, ma'am.
Adam?
Oh, I'm sorry. You point, I'll answer.
Adam.
That's fine.
Does somebody have their hand up here? Oh, I didn't.
So with the tourism grant, is there gonna be funds, like,
I went to the meeting, so I know about the process that you have to go through, because for Joppatowne, and I'm sure it's probably the same as Edgewood, when a nonprofit is planning an event, to apply to get funds for it, because, you know, there's not much money available anyplace else. Can't there be like some kind of fund there for the Joppatowne, Edgewood area, a small fund for events that they wanna have? I mean, you know, not $100,000, I'm talking about, you know, there was a $10,000 fund for Joppatowne and $10,000 for Edgewood. At least there would be some money there where these nonprofits wouldn't have to do a ridiculous amount of work, paperwork that they don't know how to do, like the other nonprofits that are larger and have more money to get bigger events from the tourism grant. So is there any way to accommodate the smaller nonprofits that are trying to have events in the community that need to be funded?
What I can tell you is I know right now the general dynamics and parameters have been drawn. I will take that back to the powers that be. There are folks on a much higher pay grade than me that get to make it.
Adam, you were next. And then
I'm the hi Larry. I've been harassing you via email and phone about Town Grill and Pub and the nail salon next door and the Redners. I'm thankful. Thank you for responding.
First off, it's not harassment, honest, I swear.
Okay.
I've been harassing them, but it's not harassment.
So thank you for answering the emails. My question, I guess, is how should a citizen, maybe somebody who's sitting in this meeting, interact with your office to try, if we have ideas, if we have feedback, if we have things that we would like to see, to try to help the business relations in our community? What are you looking for from us?
Well, what I would suggest, I guess, let me first answer one question relative to the first topic you raised, to the shopping center itself. What I can tell you is that I'm having discussions with people. Because right now it's a private entity that owns that complex. So it's not a government. But we're having some conversations. I'll be able to get back to you all in the general future, in the near future, with some additional information that I'm hoping to be on a positive side. No guarantees, but we're addressing that. As to the second issue, best I would suggest is reach out. I mean, get in touch with us. I can't guarantee an answer, and I may not be able to give you an answer that you want to hear. But I'm not going to know, we're not going to know unless you let us know. So you have two very able council members here that can also, you can go to them, they can go to us, or you can reach out to us directly. If you want, my email address, if anybody wants it, it's L.A. Richardson, all one word, at Harford County ND, all one word.
Spell that, right?
Yes, sir. HARFORDCOUNTY.gov. Which is why I like using sometimes my personal mail, it's AOL.com. Yes, sir.
Yes.
As you collect this information on the surveys for the businesses up and along, can you come back from time to time and share with us what's on those businesses' minds? I think it would be interesting maybe for us to hear as you go rather than wait 18 months until the report is compiled.
I would say in a general way, yes. No, because what we do, any of the information what I get in per individual basis is deemed proprietary. So whenever, I'm not going to disclose.
I'm looking for a general overall impression or similarities between what these businesses are looking for.
Okay. Again, let me check with the powers that be, but I don't foresee I don't foresee an issue with that.
Okay.
But again, that's people higher pay grades make that call.
Understood.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to know, seeing as
We can't hear
Recreational
you.
marijuana is going to be legal, I believe, in Maryland July 1st. And I was wondering, is there a limit to the number of vape shops or CBD or paraphernalia shops? I noticed there are a couple of them that sprung up, and I was wondering is there a limit to it? Should there be so many per square blocks or that sort of thing? Is there any legislation or rules about that?
Okay, what I can tell you about that, I mean, well, they came into play, the recreational piece came into play through state legislation. So the county had nothing to do with that. That was all decided in Annapolis. So as to issues such as that, that becomes a general zoning issue and a zoning question. Again, that would be for something of discussion with members of the council and with the county executive. That's the best I could describe for you at this point.
I could address this a little bit. I think there is going to be one centralized location for the state that handles the individual licenses, and there are going to be regulated how many licenses in an area. To how many are going to get in Harford County, I can't say. The state's going to see that.
Liam?
Okay, I'm not quite clear on the survey for the businesses on Route 40. What I'm not quite, what is it for?
What's happening, I am generally either paying a visit to a business in person, or by email. We have a small questionnaire that we ask the business to fill in. Again, all the information is kept proprietary, so we don't disclose it. But it gives us a better feel for what the business is, i.e. what is your specialty, what do you do, how many employees do you have, full-time, how many full-time, how many part-time. We ask have you done any improvements to your business over the past year? Do you intend to do any improvements to the past year in the next coming year? The logic behind what the stuff that we ask is very small. It's a 2-pager total. But what that does is a twofold piece. Gives us a better feel for what we have along Route 40. But also, too, helps set us up for a database of information that when certain state grants can become available, or certain federal grants become available, based upon, and they ask upon, for number of employees or below, maybe eligible for this amount of funding, we can gather that together and then send you this thing, fill out and submit that to the state, or submit that to the feds.
I'll be good.
No, you won't.
Is it mainly beautification you're looking for? Are you looking for anything else other than that? Making Route 40 look good?
No, the goal is
Edgewood looks good. I think that's stretch.
to make Route 40 look great, we just need to put you
There's a stretch of Route 40 that looks nice. They have those old lights and they've got nice landscaping and trees in the median. It's just that one little block. The rest of it looks awful.
What we're hoping to do, I mean, the goal of this is we're going into this, it's an overall process of uplifting and beautification on 40, but that includes, it's attracting more businesses. We've got some businesses, we're counting the number of vacants, dead buildings, as well as just dead vacant
Have you
spots.
seen many of them?
Getting into it, in certain areas, there are. Now we're gonna try to follow up with the owners. What do you plan to do here? What are you gonna do with this property? But part of it is to help, we wanna, again, uplift the community. We want to create an economic incentive to do business on Route 40, which brings in more business, which brings in more jobs, which helps employ more people. An upgraded sense of housing. We have to, things of that nature. We want to just bring the area up to where it was.
Now, the Edgewood section came out of the Edgewood Community Plan. The Joppa area also has a community plan, and I don't think that's ever been looked at sufficiently to pick up some of the things, the goals that were in there. So maybe I can send you a copy.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll take that back, I'll take that back.
Yes.
I have a two-part kind of question. I was wondering, first of all, what are, some of the businesses that they're considering putting on 40? Do you have any ideas of that, of bringing in new businesses, which ones? And also, I'd like to know for the people from Joppatowne, what is that they doing down there? What they building down there forever? When you, you know what I'm talking about, right there, right on 40, before you get to Midway Liquors, and before you get, what is all that building? That was on the bridge. Oh. Okay.
Hang on 1 second. The gentleman in the back that had a question? Yes.
Yeah, just one more real quick. A couple of years ago, under the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, I believe federal opportunity zones were created for investors, essentially to agglomerate some money, and I believe that Aberdeen and Edgewood were identified in those federal maps, and I'm wondering if you know if there has been any interest in those opportunity zones from outside investors.
In all honesty, I can't answer that directly, I'm not sure. I can find out and let you know.
Okay.
We have an enterprise zone all the way down to Route 7, almost to Joppatowne, but not including Joppatowne.
Carolyn?
I want to say a question about the bridges. They were originally put in after World War I and beginning of World War II to accommodate tanks for Edgewood Arsenal and Aberdeen Proving Ground. And those are the original structures, so they're redoing them. And I know I had a question about the concrete, because that denigrates over time, and I think that what they did is they have decided to redo all the understructure too, even though we're not usually driving tanks on the road. There are 18-wheelers that weigh just as much. So that right there has been a long time coming, and it was supposed to be finished a while back, but they're doing it correctly, and it will be done.
Eventually.
And the other thing, if there's a hurricane and you've got a flush of water coming through, a cubic yard of water weighs a ton. So not only the velocity, but the weight of the water, you put something that's not secure and it'll wipe it out, and we'll be back to where we were, so.
All right, anybody else, any other questions?
Yeah, I had a question in reference to the shopping center, Woodbridge. It seems like that spot, it doesn't get any for sale or anything, it's just sitting there. Where the Save a Lot moved out.
Right.
And then there's that big, there's the Save a Lot, and then there's a big spot, looked like it was one time giant food or something.
Yeah.
In that area, it seems like everybody says it's a bad area because of up the bridge, and I get all these statistics about crimes and everything, but there's nothing really incentive to move into making that something, maybe a rec center or something for kids or something. What, is there any plans in regards to that?
Well, it's one of the things, we are clearly aware of the large vacancy that's in that complex. So that is something, you know, I said, that area as well as other areas that have vacancies. Our goal is to get everything filled. We want to get business here. We want to bring it up.
And then you're bringing all these new businesses and all the traffic is coming from 95 to 40. What about the repairs to 40?
Well, as I said, 40 is a state road, so we can't put our equipment out there. I can tell you what we do is beat on state highway administration. So especially down the Joppatowne area, I mean, that road's beat right now. And we in turn beat on state highway, get them, and tell them, we gotta improve this road, we gotta fix this.
And in reference to the wetland, it seems like bits and pieces of it is becoming commercial property. So what, are we doing anything in reference to preserving the wetlands? I mean, that's why I moved down, I moved down 5 years ago. I love fishing and hiking and everything. It seems like more each year, all of that nature is being developed.
Again, what I can do, I mean, my first reaction would be that if that's zoned as wetlands and recognized as part of wetlands, there's really limited construction, if any construction, that doesn't allow that. But let me check on that for you and I can get back to let you know.
Yep, in the back.
Not so much a question, but a comment. After I had the pleasure of being here the last time, I talked to different people in the community, and some of the businesses, in particular, the Dollar Tree and the Walgreens, they said they didn't know anything about these meetings. And the Dollar Tree, over the last couple weeks, they've been having the problem that 7-Eleven has with the kids coming in and out, taking stuff, stealing stuff. They're having the same trouble on the overnight shift at Wawa. And the person at the dollar store was like, they wish that the government would really stay in touch with them to hear their needs. But the bigger thing is, they're both saying they can't continue to sustain and take it, and they're already talking about cutting back hours. And that's not fair to the community. So what's going on to get them support from law enforcement? I know one time I went to the 7-Eleven, it was early in, after like around 4 or 5 on a weekend, and there was a bunch of kids out there. They were harassing the clerk and everything and stuff. He had already called the cops twice. So it shouldn't have took me and somebody else coming in that time of morning to get gas to get some help for him. So I can understand their frustration.
With that, what I can tell you we can do is that we can get me that specific information. If you have my email, if you were able to write it down, email me those places, or give my email to them, have them reach out to me. Again, clearly, the sheriff's office is a separate entity. So we can't tell the sheriff's office what to do. But we can have discussion with them about the possibility of, be it heightened controls, be it more visits in there. One of the visits I did earlier with a group of businesses were having an issue at night. So I had a conversation with the sheriff's office. So what they were able to do is arrange it so that they kind of made sure that the back of that vehicle, back of that building got patrolled at night. Just to keep an eye on things. We can have that conversation with the sheriff's office. Again, can't force the sheriff to be there, but we can have a conversation.
I just wanted to circle back to, is it Debbie, the first person sitting on this end here next to Jansen?
Marianne.
Marianne. Marianne, I didn't even recognize, I don't have my glasses on, so forgive me. I just wanted to make a comment even about the tourism grant and the stipulations that are going to be changing in regards to overnight visitors. If when you go back and have to report back to those that are above your pay grade, that they keep in mind that we don't want to cut people at the knees that are really, that really helps bring more, build up the morale to the Edgewood, Joppa area when we are funded by this particular grant, because we also know that there are hotels in Edgewood and in Aberdeen that the money is sourced from in general. So when you're thinking about just highlighting overnight guests and just honoring grants that cater to that, they really need to think about the programs that are supported by that money outside of Edgewood and Joppa and Aberdeen when they make those decisions.
So
I have a question. When they have people running for office and they putting all their signs and things up, after they go in the office, who's responsible for getting that stuff down? Because that looks a mess on the road.
They are. The candidates are responsible.
Somebody needs to go on 40. It looks a mess. Some road, right.
Yeah.
Solano, you had a,
Oh, yeah, I did. In previous years, before we took over the Independence Day Committee, there was a grant that was received from you guys, but we were told that we don't qualify for that grant anymore, and the parade relies on that money. So what do we need to do to qualify for that grant? It's basically saying what you said. We're not bringing anybody in that's staying overnight, but we don't care about them. We care about our community and this parade that they look forward to every year. So where are we supposed to get funding if now all of a sudden we don't we don't qualify for these grants that in previous years we qualified for?
And so before you answer that, to her point, when you are going to be fiscally conservative, you gotta be able to replace it with something. You gotta give us something in its place instead of saying, you had it this year, but this year you will not. And we have nothing to put it in its place. That's gonna cause people to act outrageous.
on that point, do you wanna make an announcement about the parade?
I may as well. We are researching other options because due to the lack of funding and the lack of community support and volunteers, we are unable to put on the parade this year. So we're looking into other things that may be more cost efficient and that may be able, it may allow two of us, which two of us have been putting on this parade for the past few years with no volunteers other than family. So that's the announcement.
What is the parade? It's the Independence Day Parade, 1 year it's in Edgewood, 1 year it's in Joppatowne.
Can I piggyback something?
Go ahead.
That's the difference between the nonprofits asking for money from Joppatowne and Edgewood to a lot of other nonprofits. We're asking for teeny bits of money to keep little things going for our communities. So that's.
It's gotta be something put in its place.
And, it's not like I can't apply for money for an event and then spend the next year doing so much paperwork, that I don't even know how to do. And I don't know how to get numbers for hotel stays and all that stuff for having one little tiny event, so that's what's important to our community. Yeah, no, and I appreciate you taking it back, that's why I'm letting you know.
Well, we hope that you will take back the fact that we're unable to have our parade for the first time in how many years?
How many years has it been?
Yeah.
Dion would know.
Every year that they apply for that grant, they got it, and whoever we spoke to this year said he has no idea how they were getting that grant.
14 years.
14 years.
Do you know who you spoke to?
You did.
Hold on just for a second, hang on for a second so I can respond to him. Hang on a minute.
We don't have the name, but it says he was from the Harford County Office of Economic Development.
And have been denied this year. It will be the first time in probably 15 or 17 years we might have a
This
parade.
year from OED?
Yes, it was this year, yes. And
I suppose it wasn't me, I swear.
and our the other funding source was the carnival, but that man is having legal issues with Cordish, and once that's squared away, then maybe we can get that rolling again, but that's something else that was beyond our control.
Right.
So please stop shaking your head because that's irking my soul.
Well, let's see if economic development can at least do something to at least help with the parade.
Don't let it hurt.
If I could just mention that, what was in the budget every year was $5,000 that came from the county.
We can't hear you, Dion.
It was contribution from the.
It was in the budget, they started off, we got $5,000 a year from the hotel tax for the first couple of years. Then the county automatically put it in the budget that they got $5,000. But when we turned it over to them a couple of years ago, we turned over $22,000. So I don't know what happened to that, why they don't have enough money for.
That's 22,000.
$22,000 covered 2 years of parades with more performers than those parades have ever seen, ever. So that costs money. And we increased the donations to the schools instead of the churches that you were trying to disseminate the money to, instead of giving it to us, trying to force us to raise the money ourselves. Businesses that we've reached out to, that you guys have gone through prior. Oh no, they don't want anything to do with it anymore because of some feedback or whatever. So don't do that. It costs almost $15,000. And we raised money to add to it, to put on these parades. If you're not gonna help, then I need you to stop it, because you're not helping at all.
We're gonna go ask economic development to help us to get funding for the parade.
Question over here.
Okay.
Hi, I think it definitely should be something to be revisited versus canceling. I'm not sure about the timeline, but I feel like there's a lot more people here now than probably has ever been. So I think you may have an opportunity for more volunteers, especially, I see a lot of younger people in here who can be foot on the ground, or do have some other options that we weren't aware of. I know the power of social media, I believe, is the reason why there's an increased amount of people here now, and I feel like instead of just canceling it, let's try to regroup and maybe try to gain more volunteers. We have a person here that can potentially help us, since it was your department that said we couldn't have it. So I think it's a great opportunity to try again. I don't know the constraints that you had before, and I don't know the timeline either. But I think there's a lot of people in here that are invested in the Edgewood and Joppatowne community, and maybe us coming together, combining this advisory board is of a benefit.
Yes, I just want to make a public announcement, because I recognize in government, sometimes the left hand doesn't talk to the right hand, but the funding source might have stopped, because on Friday I received an email about 2 new opportunities for tourism grants that's offered to 501c3 and 501c6 organizations. So one is for like overnight stuff, and the other one is for sustainability of some project we're working on. So there's a webinar that I signed up for tomorrow at 9 a.m. to learn more about it, but they were going to distribute funds to groups that apply, and it has a tight timeline of May 12th. So that came from Harford County government. And Lisa Krisiak is the contact to register. So I'm wondering if they halted the money because they were revamping it for this. So I'm gonna join the webinar and learn more about it. And of course, 755 is a 501c3, so we can partner and apply for some grant. We certainly will do that.
Okay. Anyway, we're gonna try and see if we can get him to go back and see if we can't get money again to do the parade, okay? Okay.
I got one comment.
And then we need to
I'll
move on.
make one comment from a couple years ago when there was discussion of the economic activity along the Route 40 corridor, and Wegmans was going up. And there was a group of folks in here at the time said, we're going to Wegmans. And they weren't gonna go to Giant, they weren't gonna go to the dollar store, they were gonna go to Wegmans. So that runs the money up and the economic activity up Route 24. And until we can get enough stuff to overcome that, or entice enough big stores or whatever else to come in, we're gonna continue to have the problem. So that's how I look at it. But look at Wegmans, that parking lot is staying there full all the time. But that was a statement that was made right in the, probably Edgewood Community Council meeting, right?
All right, last comment, and then we're
So
gonna
is
move
it a
on.
matter with the shopping centers and addressing the things? Is it the fact that the owners, I don't know how it works here, is it the ownership of like Woodbridge and then down the other shopping center? Is it where they're failing to seek clients and to market and get people in their spaces? Or is it a problem that the government or whatever, the county commerce bureau or whatever, isn't getting the word out about the county and reconnecting to people that they formerly had worked with and invited into the community?
If I can, So with that, again, I have to stress the fact that shopping centers, storefronts are private property. So it's private, they're owned by private entities, so we can't go in absent some violation of zoning or whatever. We can't go in and tell them, you must do this, you must do that. What we do is we are constantly working, constantly networking, reaching out, working with entities that we know to try to attract business into Hartford County. It does us good to have business and have every shop full in Hartford County. It does you all good, have every shop full in Hartford County. We all share that same interest. The bottom line is we can't force a private entity to do X, to do Y. Absent zoning laws, licensing and regulation laws, things like that. But please rest assured, we are working to get business in. Absolutely.
Last question.
Not a question, I'm sorry. I think that it might be worth another meeting if OED could come and share with the community the process that businesses go through before they determine that they're gonna locate someplace. Because I think that oftentimes we think that, you guys aren't doing your job, or maybe the businesses, we need to share with the community the rationale that a business would use, in order to determine whether or not they're gonna open up a store or locate in a particular, community. And that's it.
So just one closing comment on my part. Again, folks, what I can tell you is that as we move forward through this year, from the county executive, we are trying to be a little cautious because right now, we don't know what the immediate future is going to hold relative to the economy. The past several years, we operated on a lot of COVID monies that were available. That's no longer available. There's talk, there's some folks that are talking of an economic downturn as we move forward. So what we're trying not to do is to overspend ourselves right now and put us in a position to where we have to start seeking an increase in revenues. We don't want to pass that on if we don't have to. It's let's get settled here, let's let the dust settle, let's see where the economy's going. So with what is in place right now doesn't necessarily mean that this is an absolute come November or December. Well, now what we're trying to do right now though is just take a cautious step and be prepared in case. Let's see how this pans out.
Well, we'd appreciate if you would take our comments back to the department and see what you can do for us.
Very good.
Webinar is on.
And we thank you so much.
If you didn't get my email when I read it out, Gloria has it, I'm more than happy to pass it out.
Everybody knows Gloria, right? All right, so now, our next speaker is Kate Gordon. And Kate has a presentation on some spring restoration projects that are going to affect the Edgewood Joppa area.
Are we able to get the PowerPoint up, or?
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to go get them. Hang on a second.
We have water,
It's so good to see you outside.
While we're waiting for that. All right, while we're waiting for that, Andre, I just wanted to introduce you to the group, because Andre Johnson, he's our new delegate. Because I didn't know you were coming tonight, but I will now add you to the agenda now the session is over.
Thank you.
And you know our council people, Dion Guthrie and Aaron Fenlon, who will be giving a report shortly.
Louder, please.
The PowerPoint presentation up, the presentation was a little pointless without all the maps that we have. So, my name is Lindsay Snyder, I am with Harford County's,
Do you want me to try to get PowerPoint on for you?
Yeah.
Try. Keyword here.
That's what we needed to do. I think the problem was the clicker was.
this is someone else.
Yeah.
Yes. I am just one, and I'm gonna show it on the live stream, but you need to scream, the only microphone I have.
Oh, we still can't hear her in the back. We cannot hear. They're gonna have to stand in the center or speak loud.
I was.
Oh, okay.
Good boy, let me tell you. Really good boy.
I think I do.
No, you're not gonna get it. Want me to get the stick for you?
I will. There it is, you got it. Keep going. Holy socks.
I'm trying to save money to buy microphones for this.
I think I'm gonna see if my son has an extra one out.
It won't matter.
I'm gonna guess. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
It looks like it's not quite up this great, so we'll kind of have to, like our slides.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, the projector is not focused great since it's shutting off there.
The switch on the side, like that.
All right, go ahead.
Yes.
One switch of back. I'm gonna do wire that, but when you're using the electrician.
Okay, let them do the presentation.
Hello again. Thank you for letting us come talk to you guys about some of the things we do for Harford County and specifically in the Edgewood and Joppa area. We love to have input about our projects when we are designing them. Community citizens, it's really important that we all understand each other and that we're all on the same page when it comes to how our projects get implemented and things like that. So, thanks again for letting us be here. Again, my name is Lindsay Snyder, and I am from the Watershed Protection and Restoration Group, which is a piece of Harford County DPW. We are sort of managers for the we are managers for our county's MS4 program, which is basically your storm water, your storm sewer system. But we are specifically here to help the county comply with permitting that is required from Maryland Department of the Environment. So what goes into that permit is making sure that we prevent pollution and sediment from going into our streams and the bay. So we're here to help comply with the NPP permit. We also do public outreach. We do a lot of community engagement. We talk about pollution prevention and native planting and all kinds of different things. You've probably seen us around at events. And currently we are trying to develop partnerships to preserve non-agricultural land or urban land. That's something new that we're allowed to do under our MS4 permit that we can get credit for. So that's kind of a big deal. I'm gonna let Kate take over real quick just for some of our projects that we are currently in design. So these are a few projects that we wanted to get some community engagement on. We wanted to get your opinion on some of these projects and, you know, if you think you agree with them, if you think you would see challenges because of these projects. But the two that Kate is going to talk about are specifically forests and urban tree canopy and planting of native meadows. And again, specifically these projects that we're going to talk about today are all within the Edgewood and Joppa area. And I'll talk a little bit more about, at the end about how we choose our projects, just before we open it up for questions.
Thanks, Lindsay. And thank you all for having us here tonight. My name is Kate Gordon. I'm a consultant for the county trying to help expand tree planting and forest planting and meadow creation in support of the stormwater goals. The first site that we want to talk about is the Edgewater Village Park plantings. There are two different areas. The total acreage for these sites is about 4.7 acres. The planting areas that we're looking at are on Harford County Park and Recreation property. And that is shown on this map. The parkland is shown outlined in white. And you can see the proposed forest planting areas in that kind of green hatching area. There's one off of Edgewater Drive and one off of Brookside Drive. And so what's proposed for these areas is to kind of just to do new tree planting and a mix of different types of trees. They would all be native tree species, a mix of canopy, big trees like oaks and tulip poplars or maples, whatever's appropriate for the site, along with understory species, some flowering species like red buds or dogwoods, those type of understory kind of trees, and then also shrubs. And the understory, the ground layer, would be relatively unmaintained. The intention would be to develop into kind of a forested area. That's the current proposal. That is the type of planting that gets the county the most credit. But we understand that, you know, we're looking at these aerial photographs, we visited the sites, but we don't know how the community uses these areas. So that's why we're here. We want to hear the feedback that you have. So that's the first site, general sites that we're looking at. And then the second planting site that we have is at Edgewood Elementary. And we've been working with Harford County Public Schools Facilities Group. We've talked to the principal. We've also coordinated with the Boys and Girls Club, and we've coordinated with Harford County Public School Safety team. And so through all of that coordination, we've come to this proposed planting scheme. Again, the white boundary is the Harford County Public School boundary, and the different highlighted a different kind of hatching. So the ones at the top of the screen there, kind of towards the edge of the property boundary, are proposed forest plantings, like I previously described, kind of trying to develop a new forested area. There are also some plantings that are kind of closer to some of the ball fields on the school property that are in orange, that I realize it's a little hard to see on this map right now, but what's intended there is to kind of create shade tree plantings, where it's just canopy trees with grass underneath, try to provide some shade for all the parents watching their kids' ball games, and just some cooling for the area as it gets hotter and hotter, right? So that's one of the other things proposed there. And then in pink, kind of adjacent to the Boy and Girls Club facility, that's a meadow planting area that's proposed. There's kind of a slope there. We've coordinated with the Boys and Girls Club. They're supportive. They kind of want to engage the kids with us as well. So, we have done some coordination, but again, we'd be open to more community feedback on what you guys think about these proposed plantings.
And we are focusing on these two particularly because I feel like they're probably some of the more visible projects that we have. The forest and tree planting in the Edgewood and Joppa area are typically right where you guys are, and right by the roads that you're driving on. So we like that feedback, good or bad. We did for our previous project, the Edgewater Village Park plantings. We did talk to the sheriff's office to make sure that this kind of fit with safety issues, and we didn't want to exacerbate a bad situation by planting more trees. So we talked to them about that and made sure that they were fine with that idea as well. But so those are our landscape type projects that we do. But we also do stream restorations and stormwater management as part of our program. These help us get credits for our permit, and it helps keep the water clean. It helps stop erosion and sediment in the streams. So it's mutually beneficial to everybody. And I'm just gonna go through pretty quickly. We have a lot of projects in this area that are just getting started. A lot of these are in design. So I guess we're gonna take some questions at the end, but if you have any specific quick questions about these particular areas, you can kind of just butt in if you want. Yeah.
The planting areas that you said were in Brookside, I live there and I've seen them, and I've noticed that the children really seem to really like it. And especially the water areas that you guys are talking about, they love playing near the creeks. And I think it would be a good idea to make it more cleaner for the children, especially the lake that's near us as well. And there's like fruit and, not fruit, but vegetables and stuff that they've been planting. But I think they would like it if you guys would like grow like fruits instead of just vegetables.
So we just plant trees.
Well, you can plant on like a fruit tree. I thought you guys did the
No, that's the rec center that has the vegetable, the garden you're talking about.
That is not part of our program. We do native meadows.
No.
So that will be, you'll see large areas of wildflowers and things like that with our native meadows. But no, we typically don't plant a fruit trees or vegetable gardens or anything like that. Not that we're against it.
So how will that planting there on Edgewater Drive affect, you have a whole bunch of geese and other things, so you're saying you're gonna do some native trees and different things. Will you be taking into consideration them and the hordes of seagulls that are right there in that little water area?
I'm not sure if you can see the hatching on the map. It's a little washed out, but
Yeah.
We're actually not planting around the lake at all. We're sort of filling in some other spots up to the north.
Okay.
Yeah, we had talked about doing some plantings there, but I thought, there was some discussion that maybe that wasn't in the best interest of the public, so we kind of backed off from that.
I know a long time ago they cleaned the water, but you guys still do that?
Well,
You guys still do that?
actually, I am gonna talk about that in a little bit.
Then why don't we wait until the presentation's over and then you'll have more information to request.
So these were just a couple of tree plantings that we have planned, in the very near future. But like I said, we also do stream restorations and stormwater management, retrofits or repairs. One smaller one that we have in design right now is doing some, stormwater retrofit at Mariner Point Park. Sort of fixing some drainage issues there, planting some new plants, just kind of improving that, area around the parking. One very large project that we have in design right now is the North Reardon Stream Restoration, and that's gonna be over 2,000 linear feet of a restoration for the streams. As you can maybe see, right there at Edgewood Park, near the Magnolia Estates and Harvard Square. So that connecting area, we're gonna be doing a pretty large stream restoration, fixing the channel, making sure that the water is cleaner and has less sediment, and that the stream banks are safer. So if there are children playing in it, our projects will take the deep channelization away and make it safer for children to play in that area. One more stream restoration that we are in planning is at Taylor Creek. So this one is actually near Joppatowne, on Joppatowne High School property and Moore's Orchard Homeowners Association. Again, you can kind of see how the channel's very damaged and incised, and part of our work is to clean it up, make it stable, prevent the sediment from going down in the stream, and make it safer for people who want to use that for hiking or recreational purposes. Similar to the other projects, we have one here that we call the Watergate Stream Restoration. It's Watergate Court near Emerton Road. And this project, I think you had a question. This project will actually help stabilize the outfalls to Lake Serene. So we have some, not only stream restoration, but infrastructure protection as well, to make sure that the stream isn't damaging the culverts and things like that come under the road and go into Lake Serene. And if you can see this, so right now we have 4 or 5 active projects in the Edgewood and Joppa area that we are currently in design. So these projects will be constructed in the next few years. It takes a lot of time and money to get these projects off the ground. So we expect in 2024 or 2025 the active projects on this slide are ones that we have already constructed. These are considered active because we still have to monitor and make sure that they are functioning properly, because we don't just do these projects and walk away. We do these projects and we have to maintain them forever to maintain the credits that we get for them. So, don't think that we come in and tear up the land and then just walk away, because that's just not what we do. But there's also a list here at the bottom of the completed projects that we've done in this area over the years that we've had these permits and these permit requirements. And so you can see we have Willoughby Beach, stream restoration, Joppatowne Road, there was a stream restoration, Woodbridge, we had another project at Willoughby Beach, tree planting, we did some stuff at Magnolia Middle School. Again, we did some more stormwater retrofits at Woodbridge. We have stream restorations on Foster Branch near Haverhill and also Still Meadow Drive. So you can see that we have spent a lot of time and money and in this area trying to help out the streams, because unfortunately this area has a lot of issues with erosion, and just kind of based on where we are geography wise and in the age of the homes. You know, the older the home is, usually there's no stormwater management associated with those subdivisions. So we kind of try to help those situations along. We have the most erosion in older subdivisions. So that kind of leads into how we choose our projects. And we have watershed assessments that we do. We have them all available on our website. You can kind of like go look at them and see all the streams that we've assessed, you know, what their condition was when we assessed them, and you know, how it kind of shows how we move from point A to point B. We also have a spot problem app. We do targeted questionnaires, and we do word of mouth. People call us and say, hey, the stream behind my house looks terrible. Can you come look at it? We want something done. So, of course, at community engagement, we always take that into consideration. You know, it matters. So, you know, we love to hear from people. And so we also have, that was how we identify potential projects, but we have a very structured way that we choose which ones get constructed. And that is a selection matrix that kind of puts a lot of variables together. So we rank all the projects based on severity of the problem, the correctability, so how, you know, can we actually fix the problem, and accessibility, so can we actually get machines and equipment down into the stream to fix it, because some places you just can't do that. We usually try to pick one project per watershed, and our watersheds are only really within the development envelope, so we don't do a lot of stream restorations or projects, you know, up in the north part of the county where everything is agricultural, because that's the water that we treat has to be part of the municipal stormwater system. So we have to kind of stick where we have inlets and storm drains and parts that connect to the county system. So we also give priority to projects that have benefits for the overall general public. So we like to do projects on parks and schools and libraries and places where everybody can kind of see what's going on and everybody has the benefit of those particular projects. We try to stay away from projects that are on private property because they benefit specific people, but they also are more expensive and more difficult to build. So if you have any questions.
Yes, I do. When you're doing these things, is it going to be like a naturalized look, so you can keep the need for grass cutting down to a minimum that costs a fortune?
Yeah, like all of our projects, we try to construct them or plant things in a way that it looks very natural, very man-made. You know, we have certain planting structures that we do, and we have like natural patterns that we kind of plant things in. I mean, when you look at the areas that we planted after we're done, it's not gonna look like a plantation. The trees aren't gonna be planted in a nice little row or anything.
It's not going to look like a golf course, because
no,
I see them cutting the grass during the summer, and you know, if it's not at an intersection, I don't care what it looks like. But it costs a lot of money. I mean, it costs a lot of money to cut grass, and to have it naturalized.
Especially with the public schools, we like to plant areas that would otherwise be mowed. So, you know, just extra space that a school's not using or a park's not using, plant it with trees so you don't have to spend money on mowing it for no reason.
Okay, that's what curious.
Let's get, can you bring up that slide where you had the Boys and Girls Club? I'm just gonna point something out to everybody.
Sure.
On the left-hand side of that, that's Z, wherever you call it, everybody knows where the Boys and Girls Club is right there. That property to the left of there, that's where the copper milling fields are being built as we speak. So we're
Right,
gonna work
and
that.
we actually took that into consideration too. You can sort of see like a orange hatching that comes down from the Boys and Girls Club all the way down to the road. And those are sort of gonna be screening, so that there's a nice break between the public school and the copper mine facility. Kids obviously would be able to come and go through there. It's not gonna be a fence, but it is a nice screen for the school from that facility.
Sir?
Hi, my name's Dan John, the president of Joppatowne Rec Council. Many times last summer, and I could tell you at least 4 to 5 times that I know of, Trimble Road was flooded out because the construction they did up there, building this new community, we had some nasty storms. That water came down through there, flooded out Trimble Road, and the pond at Copenhagen Park looks like chocolate milk. Now, I'm a member of the Lions.
Blame the beavers on that one.
Nah, that ain't all beaver, I can tell you that. Some of it is, yes, but not all of it. But we used to stock, the Lions Club used to stock that pond and have fishing tournaments there. I don't think anything could live in that pond at this point in time. Is that on your project to look at doing something with that?
What ponds are you?
The pond at Copenhagen Park, Trimble Road.
No, that's not part of the project, but I do know what you're talking about, and I agree with you, and it is problematic, and we have had internal discussions as to how to handle that, and we're kind of at a loss right at the moment, but we understand what the issue is.
We are fighting nature, and it's hard.
Hang on 1 second, we have to, and then you'll do that.
I really, that's one thing I love about living out here in Harford County, is the fact that the nature paths, the bike paths, and the preservations that's being done in general, it really just lends itself to just the landscape and how beautiful it is. I had a question with that same, area in Edgewood. So you said you did surveys with residents and things of that nature. Are there any present walking paths that will be obstructed, like for neighbors that don't have cars, but they have naturally developed a path through those areas where you plan to plant?
So that's actually exactly why we're here. We don't know about any paths that exist, but if you know about them, if you think that, there would be some obstruction there between the flow of pedestrians from point A to point B, please speak up, because, all we see is a big blank spot, and then we're gonna plant trees all over it.
Yeah.
We need input from the community for those types of things, because there's it doesn't show up on a map anywhere for us.
Yeah, and besides being here, which is a good start, is to, and you said that you talked with, the Edgewood Boys and Girls Club.
Yep.
Edgewood Elementary.
We talked with
Did
all
you
of
ask those specific questions and the residents around there about walking paths that residents, utilize? And then what it's gonna look like over the year to 2 years, to how that forest land is going to affect their way of living in that area? I know it's gonna be nice. However, did you include that type of questioning for them?
So when we were doing, our talks with the public schools, we talked with safety, we talked with the facilities departments and things like that. This particular one is Harford County Parks and Recreation land.
For Edgewood or Village Park,
Yeah.
I think she's talking about Edgewood.
Are you talking about Edgewood Elementary?
Edgewood Elementary that borders the, Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, so we talked to pretty much anyone who would talk to us. We talked to the Boys and Girls Club, we talked to the principal, we talked to safety, we talked to the facilities managers.
Specifically about that,
Yeah,
not just the project, but just
yeah.
asking that specific question.
Yeah, I mean, we were planting more, and they had, a lot of different reasons that they needed us to chop pieces off of the design. There was lines of sight, visibility, cameras, just worry about safety for the children, things like that. So we, took into consideration everything that they would tell us and anyone who will talk to us.
And the principal did give us some feedback on like how the kids, you know, walk to school and use the site.
Yeah,
so
and
that was-
this should not obstruct, anybody's walking path, I wouldn't think, unless it's like a specific homeowner's path, you know, like a single resident or something, but, they didn't make us aware of any
So-
trails that are used.
And I think that's good. I think that, again, what I was trying to get more specific is, did the survey go out to, like, if you joined the Boys and Girls Club, could they send the survey out to those parents? Can they send the survey out? If you're going to Edgewood Elementary, can they send the survey out to the parents as opposed to just, the principal or the director?
So we haven't in the past, we've just sort of taken, into consideration what the public schools have to say and like all of their staff, including safety and people who utilize the property, but typically, no, we haven't sent out questionnaires to the parents of the children who go there.
Or could it be done because you have an email on there?
Right.
Could it be given out on a card for them to give out to make sure that they know?
Yeah, so
That
I mean,
their input is important?
We can, usually before we do any construction, we will, sort of make some outreach materials, door hangers or flyers that they can hang in the school, so that all the parents are well aware of what's going on and it's not a surprise to them. I think this is a little bit just, tree plantings, but when we do, like a whole stream restoration or stormwater management on a public school facility, it's a little bit more intensive, for the outreach and, you know, getting the community involved, for sure, you know, like, we have a stream restoration that we're doing at Church Creek Elementary School coming up pretty soon, and, you know, we have flyers going out, we have big signs that say, you know, what we're doing, we put door hangers on, all kinds of things like that. And I think usually the principal of the school will, when these projects get started, they'll put something on the Facebook page, you know, tell the PTA, have them email things out to parents. You know, if there's like a newsletter, they usually kind of will stick that in there. But we don't personally typically like email the student. They won't give us emails.
No, I wasn't asking that.
I'm a parent of children that go to the Boys and Girls Club. And I do drive, but there are plenty of kids who use this as an after-school program, who parents aren't at home, who need a source or a way or trail to go on. So I think I'm piggybacking off of her. I think it would definitely be in the best interest to at least reach out to Gary, the branch manager.
I did.
Yeah, and to get actual parent feedback, because not all of the kids are bused to drive there. So I think that's what's kind of piggybacking on what
Yeah, I
she's
mean, we
saying.
have there's no plan in blocking any paths for walking kids. I mean, the planting that we're doing on the school property is just urban tree canopy, so you can literally just walk, it's just a tree line. So you can just walk through it.
That question, please, gentlemen.
Yes, Pam, thank you. You mentioned a couple of times during your talk that the county receives credit for these kinds. Credit against what?
So we have a permit from MDE, Maryland Department of the Environment, that we are required to treat stormwater that is not already being treated. So if you have a parking lot or roads from a development that currently does not have stormwater management treating it, we do these projects so that we can get a certain amount of credits that go towards that permit, because we have a credit requirement, you know, so we have to treat 20 acres of untreated area a year for 5 years under our permit.
those areas that you talk about, in terms of it being in violation, are they private property?
So they're not in violation, so a lot of impervious areas, parking lots, housing developments were built before the stormwater management regulations were in place. So you can't punish somebody for following the rules of that time. But it's still a problem, you know, that doesn't make the problems go away. So we have to do our best to figure out how to treat stormwater that's not already being treated. We have to fix the streams that are eroding and all the sediment is being carried downstream into the bay. So it is a requirement from NBE that we do these projects for a certain amount of credit. We have a credit requirement that we must meet.
Last question, because I'm gonna move it. Okay, we have an area there, between 40 and 24. When you come on 40 and you go around the 24, you have that water on either side. That's every other color but what it should be. Which,
Yeah, correct.
to me, my fear, is that that's the stream, part of the stream that's coming into our communities, which I see children play in all day long. So do I email you? Do I call you? Do y'all come out and test that water?
So we don't test water for contaminants in that way. Michelle over here can talk to you a little
Yeah,
bit more.
if you shoot us an email, you have that information, we can,
That's the Snyder?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just email
Just
me.
email Lindsay, and we're happy to come out and talk to you, you know, more one-on-one at the situation, and doing a water quality analysis isn't necessarily, isn't always warranted, to be honest with you. So, you know, we can have that discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes things look dirty and it's literally just dirt. Sometimes a clean stream can have some really, but something that looks clean can actually be one of the worst, so, yeah. It just depends, but we do water quality sampling across the county at different intervals at different places, based on our permit requirements. So we are doing something.
Last question.
Yeah, I was just interested, I have some friends who live down in Florida, in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale. In the last couple of weeks, they had a terrible, it wasn't even a storm, it wasn't a hurricane, but they had terrible flooding that flooded people's homes for the first time ever. They had, these are like inland type of homes, not near the ocean, not near rivers. And basically, they're saying, well, you know, it's this climate, global warming. And then when they really dug into it, it's just like really old, not taken care of infrastructure. That these houses were very old. You know, I've been in Harford County for 20 years. I bought a new home. And I would like to know, for just your everyday, you know, homeowner, how do we know that we're in a flooded area? How do we know what the infrastructure of your area is? Right? Because this is a situation that's really bad because most people do not have flood insurance. So now their homes are damaged in what, and their insurance is not covering.
Right, so there are mapping things you can go on, you know, the FEMA website. You can type in your address and figure out whether or not your home is in a floodplain or near a floodplain. They have all kinds of different mapping elements that you can kind of add to. But there's also different websites that Maryland keeps up. There's the Maryland IMAP, which has all kinds of different data that you can look at. Even Harford County has a website for GIS maps as well. I do not have the address for that off the top of my head, but
all right.
Yeah, I mean FEMA or Maryland IMAP.
But that data is out there.
Yeah.
And even when you're purchasing a home, that's a smart thing to look at. You know, am I in a floodway? Am I in a floodplain? Because that would change my opinion as to whether I'm purchasing something, so.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Come back, Gloria.
I am.
There's a copy of that, PowerPoint presentation, you can email me, I'll email it to you.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a couple of quick updates before we get to council. Let's get those out of the way. Samantha?
I'm gonna be super quick, and I'm gonna head out after I do this, so if anybody has any specific questions, I can field those. I did print out 30 copies of the county council highlights this time. I believe I left the extra ones up here, so for anybody who's new, these are kind of some more detailed minutes than what's available on the council website for the legislative sessions for the council, so this includes all of our meetings for April. And then just one other thing I wanted to announce was that we have 2 public hearings coming up for the budget. The first one's this Thursday, May 4th at 7 o'clock in the council chambers, which is located in Bel Air. And then next week we have one on a Wednesday, May 10th, same time, 7 o'clock, also in the council chambers. We are expecting a large crowd for that. And if you do think you want to testify, you get 3 minutes. I would highly suggest you either call the council office, email us. I have a couple cards here, but I can give you a phone number if anybody wants to write it down. To pre-register in advance, because we are expecting lines and demonstrations that I've been made aware of as well. But we want to give everybody a chance to speak on the budget, because obviously that's very important. We heard some things about that here tonight. So.
Thank you, Samantha. Where do I do next?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm Lenore Robinson from Housing and Community Development. I'm providing you with information, and we've gotten a lot of information today. I do not have sufficient flyers for everyone in here. However, any information that you receive today, you can contact me. I'll see that you receive it. Now hiring paramedics and EMTs. I mentioned this last month. $5,000 sign-on bonus. The salary per year is $66,000. 24/7 schedule. You get great holiday pay, tuition reimbursement, full benefits including health care and Maryland retirement system. This information is posted on the county website. I'm going to pass these around. I don't know how far they will go. But once again, before I finish sharing the information, I will give you my email address so that I can direct you either to myself or to the county website. Mental health first aid training. This training is free. We want you to be able to identify and understand responses to the signs in adults struggling with mental health. This is for May the 5th, which is this weekend, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., Mount Zion, 1643 Churchville Road here. It's in Bel Air. It's open to any individual that's 18 years of age and older. I'm going to pass these around too. Some incentive, they're going to give you breakfast when you come to the training. Thank you so much. Household Hazard Waste Day, which is Saturday, May 13th, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. The Hartford Waste Disposal Center, 3139 Scarborough Road. This is for Hartford County residents only. The information to call would be 410-638-3417. So if someone's coming from a different county or jurisdiction, no, they cannot use that facility to dispose of any waste. We have emergency services preparedness training. Learn how you can play a role in keeping your community safe. It's a 4-week program. It started April 17th, but it's running through May the 8th, the rest of this week. It's Mondays, 7 to 9:30 p.m., It's a free class, limited seating. And if many of us here today do not need this, please feel free to share it with other individuals within the community. On May 23rd, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Mount Zion, which is located at 1643 Churchville Road, you must register for QPR, which is Questions, Persuade, Refer. It's the gatekeeper training for suicide prevention. It's a free training for adults and youth, 14 years and older, presented by Harford County Office of Drug and Control. May 23rd, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. You must register for this. Thank you. First time home buyers workshop in our beautiful Harford County community will be May 17th from 5 to 9 p.m. McFall's Activity Center in Bel Air, 525 West McFall Road. You must register online at the county website, which is www.harfordcountymd.gov. It's the first time home buyer workshop. It is a free workshop from 5 to 9, but you must register online for this.
Oh, excuse me, what was that date again, Ms. Robinson?
It's May 17th, which is a Wednesday evening from 5 to 9.
Is this like the program in Baltimore that,
First time, I think this lady, did you take yours in a different jurisdiction?
I took mine in Joppatowne,
You took,
down
okay.
by the, water.
Okay.
Is this the one that give you money to fix your house up and all that?
No, that's a different
That's something
program.
else different.
Yeah, this is for people first time purchasing their home. But-
I want that one too.
How about that one?
But if you qualify for the repair program, you would need to call 410-638-4434 and hit option 1. They do have a repair program. They're related to Habitat for Humanity. It's 410-638-4434, option 1. Harford County has a bike camp. Learn to ride a two-wheel bike independently. It's a 5-day camp, Monday through Friday. Starts August the 7th, August through 11th. It's for people that have different abilities. So please share this information. It sounds exciting, and we do need volunteers. We always need good volunteers. We're sure that. Once again, I'd like to say I do not have enough flyers here today, but if you go on the website for the county, all of this information is found there. There is a button on the right-hand side. You can put your information in there. It's a search button. Whatever your questions may be, it will pop up to guide you through it. October 21st, that's way down the road, so you're probably going to hear this reiterated at the next meeting that we do have. We don't have a meeting though in June, is that correct? We do have one, sorry about that. We do have one in June, so you'll hear this again. October 21st, the Veterans Resource Fair. I want you to say the date, the Veterans Resource Fair. October 21st, that's on a Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Bel Air Armory. It's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., 37 North Main Street. Come out and meet the veterans. There's someone in the room, I'm sure that's a veteran. Many times veterans are homeless. There should never be any veteran that's homeless. And the last bit of information I'll be sharing with you is from the county executive's office. His first budget as county executive of Harford County, the physical responsibility and still remains essential service for our citizens here. I have a few of these to pass out. Paula, if you wouldn't mind, individuals that do not get a copy, if you would share the emails with me, I'll see if they call to see my copy, okay? I'm gonna pass this out. For a second, I'm sorry. You wanna pass these around for everyone? Once again, the information shared today can be found on the county website, which is www.harfordcountymd.gov. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
One,
Okay.
one comment.
Oh, go ahead.
I like all of those programs that you shared with us tonight. My only request is first the housing program. If we could have some of that, some of those services or programming in this area. So because a lot of times, and I would just say, one of the concerns we have about crime has nothing to do with, really has little to do about crime itself. It has to do with, Edgewood is a transient community. And the more people, when you look at communities where crime is low, you have stable housing, you have folks who are homeowners. And so what we want to do is to create those kinds of opportunities in the Edgewood community. And I think that if we could, if services like that could be offered, the training could be offered in the community, make it more accessible to residents in the Edgewood community.
Okay, so what you're saying, Dr. Stanson Robinson, is that you would like to have the first time home buyer workshop in this location, and having them in the Bel Air. I believe I heard that correctly. I'll take it back and share it with our housing council. Once again,
And if you need a place, Joppa Fire Hall, 7152, can hold 300 people easily.
okay, I'll let the two housing councils know that. Thank you for bringing that up, because mainly they are held in the Bel Air location for that. So that is a good suggestion. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jansen. Okay, thank you, Linda. Thank you. All right, Brian, I'm gonna ask you to keep it to 10 minutes, because we have two council.
Hold on.
Hang on a minute.
Hold on. They need to go left.
Hang on. We have two council people and we have a delegate, and I want to get everybody out of here on time, so, yeah.
Thank you, Paul. Good evening, my name's Ron Solomon, Fire Prevention and Life Safety, here for Harford County, been doing this a little over 20 years. I brought some pictures here, and if you look at this, I'll tell you what it is. These are batteries. If you have batteries in your house and you're storing them in your house, do not put them in plastic bags and throw them in a drawer. This lady that gave me these, brought up to the firehouse, matter of fact, she went on vacation. She stores batteries, just throws them in a drawer in a plastic bag. Came home, her smoke alarm was going, didn't know why. She did see a little bit of smoke, and didn't know why it was in there. Her batteries had caught fire while they were on vacation. Nobody was home. Doesn't matter what kind they are. Okay, if you're storing them, make sure they're stored separately and stored away from it. Don't just throw them in a drawer together. And what probably happened here looks to me like positive and negative, and they started up and they do heat up. Okay, so please be careful when storing batteries. This month is the beginning of grilling, if the weather decides to cooperate. Okay, I got some flyers up here on the front table for grilling safety. Most of our fires, and from this point on through about the end of September, are caused by grills being unattended or too close to the home, or coals being discarded when they're not completely out. You know, if you're using propane or using any kind of grill, keep it a good distance from the house or from any of your side rails on your wooden decks or even your vinyl. They will burn, will catch fire. We had a fire here the other night up here in Bel Air off of in the Red Oak area over there behind
Pattersonville, behind Pattersonville,
Was that?
behind Pattersonville.
Yeah. Okay, and, it appears, I haven't seen the report yet, but it appears discarded coals from a grill or a cigarette started that fire. When the chief got there, the fire call came out at like 5:36. The chief was on scene in 2 minutes. There were flames coming out of all 3 levels of that house. That's how fast that fire spread. Okay, the way things are made today, so keep your grills safe. If you're using charcoal or any kind of other wood grills, and the same thing with your fire pits. Don't just dump them. Wait till they cool, make sure their doubts are drowned out completely. Don't put them in a metal bucket and sit them on your wooden deck, because we're gonna be out there in the middle of the night putting out a fire in your house. Trust me, it does happen. There are 2 other things I just wanna touch on real quick, are smoke and CO alarms, okay? Listen, we do have smoke and CO alarms for the hard of hearing impaired. It goes through Maryland FABSCOM program, which is out of Montgomery County. What happens is you fill the form out, I'll give you more information after the meeting if you want. Basically, you fill the form out online, you go to their website. My boss will get it and it'll come back to me and I'll come out and install them. I have to install them for you. We install 2 smoke alarms, a bed shaker alarm, and a CO alarm in the residence for you. Unless you need more depending on the situation. Again, every situation is different. But 1 set of these things costs like $450. We do not charge you a penny. Okay, these are free service. There's some things to go with, but I'll talk about more about that at another time. And my old famous standby, smoke alarms. I can't tell you how many homes I've been into lately where I've seen smoke alarms where people are not taking care of them or don't have them at all. I was in a house last Saturday, and they told me, when they called me, they said they had no smoke alarms in the house. I said, when was your homes built? They said 1980. Something went off in my head here. Everything after 1970 has smoke alarms. Every single home built. Okay. I asked her, do you have hardwired ones? No, they're just battery operated. Long story short, went in the house. They had battery operated alarms stuck up on the ceiling, covering the hardwired where the hardwired alarm should be. Number 1, it's against the law. You can be fined if your house catches fire if you get caught. Number 2, it's unsafe. It's a health safety hazard. You cover that up with just battery-only alarms, you risk your life as well as everybody else in your home and everybody that lives next to you, especially in townhomes. Okay? Do not cover them up. Do not we can give out and install for you battery-operated smoke alarms that last 10 years. That's in addition to your hardwired alarms with your battery backup. Okay, they're 2 different things. If that person would go to sell their house tomorrow, they would not be able to sell it because they don't have hardwired alarms in it. And the realtors all know this. And I had one person told me, well, they told me they could sell it as is and get away with it. Not in Maryland. Maryland will not let you sell that home that way. Okay, so, but if you do need some extra protection, and the reason why we offer the 10-year battery only ones to go along with the other ones, yes, another little bump on the ceiling, but it's for your safety. If the power goes out, and you don't have power for more than a few hours, these alarms will still work. Your hardwired ones won't. That 9-volt battery is not going to last too long. Those of you that go back, way back when you had transistor radios, you had that radio on all day, you're replacing that battery every couple of days, if you remember correctly. And speaking of that, part of my outfit, we had 50s day at the school today, so I took off all I tried to get on it, but anyway. So really, watch smoke alarm, and change your battery, change your clock, change your batteries, and your smoke alarm. If you can do it, get somebody to do it. I can't urge this enough. We have too many fires now. We've had no smoke alarms in residence or smoke alarms not working. So please, it's for your safety. It's a life safety hazard. That's down and dirty real quick. Any questions for me? Yes?
I heard about people storing batteries in the refrigerator.
Say that again?
Storing batteries in the refrigerator.
Storing battery in the refrigerator. At one time, it was supposed to make them last longer. That's one of those things that goes back to old wives' tales. It really doesn't.
Well, how about a fire?
Pardon me?
You shouldn't put a fire.
It's not going to make them last any longer if you just keep them on the shelf. Okay, they're being in the cold.
I'm saying prevention of the fire.
Yeah.
Saying they.
I can't.
Prevention of the fire. So does it prevent a fire if she keeps it in the refrigerator?
No, I say, okay, I see what we're going with this. If you put them in the refrigerator, I mean, it's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna, but if they do touch and happen to get together, the positives and negatives, they can still catch fire inside your refrigerator. Whether it's your freezer or not, yes. And it's hard to believe, but it takes a lot to put those fires out. I had them and talked about it real quick, well, I got a minute. Our battery operated cars that we all love so much, and that our state governor wants to make everybody have one by 2035. There was just another day, another car, Tesla, caught fire. They put it out, again, give you an idea. A car fire today, regular car, gasoline operator, diesel operator, we usually get 1, maybe 2 engines. We can put out that fire. With a Tesla car, with an electric car, any electric car, you're talking 3 to 5 engines. And that's more than 5,000 gallons of water. And then they're not even out. The batteries, right, it costs so much the car. Now, that car was towed to a lot. It was totaled. 3 days later, the car caught fire again. Self-ignition from that battery. Those batteries, I don't care what the county says, what the county exec or the governor says, you cannot dispose of those batteries anywhere in the United States. You cannot throw them in the ocean. You cannot bury them. There's no place to put them. When they go bad, guess what? They're going to be around. So keep that in mind if you decide to buy an electric car. And I don't believe our governor's going to be able to get that to pass because it's going to be impossible. I know California's trying to get it too. That law will never pass the way cars are made today. And I don't see technology coming through that fast. Keep checking your smoke alarms, and if you have any questions, I'll be right after the meeting for you. Thank you.
All right. County council people, Andre.
Speak up so we can hear you.
Okay, just a couple issues I want to clear up from the conversations that were taken. A couple of emails shooting around in regards to Aaron Penman because he's from District B. Understand that this community council is Joppatowne, Joppa, and Edgewood. It's 3 different districts. He covers the Joppa area. And this community council goes all the way up to, I think, Route 1, doesn't it? It's up to Route 1? Oh, and that's the part. And District A goes up to 95, and he's from 95 all the way to Route 1. So he's here because he's supposed to be here, and if he wasn't here, Gloria Moon kicked my butt. Because she's one person that lives in that district. And who else we got?
And Jim too.
And that's right, and we got, and they're pairs. Anyway, Danny John, what you were talking about, where that mud and all came from, it came from Ridgely Reserve. When they started building that place, mud was flowing down. They cut all them trees and everything down at one time. We really need to get some. I'm going to try to work with Aaron here about getting some kind of bill passed where if you're going to have a development that big, that you're going to develop like a third, a third, and a third, instead of tearing it all down at one time and you're going to build 300 homes. Well, it was it's an R1. It's supposed to only be single-family homes, but they had a so-called district where it lets them bump it up to the second level, which lets them build townhouses there. So instead of being able to build 300 single-family homes only, they now can build 200 single-family homes and 188 townhomes. So anyway, my first bill I introduced and already got passed and the whole council voted for it was to get rid of that district out of R1. So now when you buy something in R1, you're only going to get a single family home and you can't build anything else in that district but an R1. Touch base on a fire. We had a bad fire in Brookside Drive in Edgewood. 5 houses burned, literally total down. Both in Joppatowne and Edgewood, there's something you have to look for. I talked to the fire guy up there because he said they thought the fire started on the second deck outside in the middle of the complex. I'm thinking, and it started around 5:30 in the morning, I'm thinking to myself, how in the world can a fire start on a deck, you know, on the second level, there's no steps up to it, and how in the world? So I'm thinking, going back to my electrical days, because I'm an electrician at heart, both Edgewood and Joppatowne have a lot of aluminum wiring in them, and these are old houses, so, and I'll bet you $10 to a donut, those houses have aluminum wire.
As far as smoking material.
Smoking material?
Yes, it was.
Is that what it was?
It's a car smoking until,
A car smoking? Where'd it come from?
They threw it out on the deck, it was sorted out like supposedly about 7 o'clock the night before.
What'd they throw out?
Like I said. What's that?
What'd they throw out?
Cigarette.
Smoking materials.
Okay.
Maybe because of wind and the breeze, and it found it smoldered for a long time. By early in the morning, that's when it caught.
But also, you need, if you got aluminum wire, and I had a house in Joppatowne that had aluminum wire, and it caused me a fire. You gotta check it, if you got houses in Edgewood or Joppatowne, you gotta check the wiring, because what happens is, if you gotta plug in a wall, that's a copper, part with a copper screw on it. And you got aluminum wire in the walls, you take aluminum wire and you put it around the copper screw and you tighten it down, there it's tight. But that outlet's on the, like on the outside wall, it gets real cold out, those two alloys don't mix. So aluminum wire shrinks. So when it gets real cold, the aluminum wire shrinks and the copper screw don't move. What happens is you get an arc between the aluminum wire and the copper screw, and boom, it arcs, catches on the wall board, and you got a fire. So just check that out. You can get an electrician or somebody in there to do what they call a pigtail, where you cut the aluminum wire back and you run a copper wire from the plug out about a foot, and then you wrap the two wires together, and then you pigtail them. That'll protect you. Okay, I passed out this. We're trying to make things quicker because, you know, we have a lot more people. We're going with 3 different areas. So I pass this out first with my legislative aide here. Debbie puts all this together for me. So this is here. So I'm just going to touch base on it. And if you have any questions afterwards, please feel free. It starts off and talks about the tourism, which a number of people have spoken about, the tourism grant. You've got a webinar tomorrow at 9 a.m. May 2nd. You can go online, and I've already attended one myself. And if you want to know how to get some of this money, this is what you got to do. I went to the one that was up in Havre de Grace a couple of weeks ago, and they had several funds. They got this partnership fund, which had $550,000 in it. They got the Hartford Strides Fund, which has got $220,000 in it, plus there's several million more still out there floating around. One thing that really irritates me, and I've been working with the county executive on, is to try to come up with an idea. I've talked to Aaron about it also, is that District A has 9 hotels in it. In District A, we raised $685,000 a year in the hotel tax. In the last 8 years, that comes to over $5 million. At that $5 million, we've got $50,000 bucks. That's how much we've gotten over that 8-year period, and we're raising $685,000. We're gonna raise more now too because of this copper mine, and these fields get built, and they started playing a lot of games up there, and people come from out of town and everything and stay in these hotels. I think we're gonna be raising more money. There's only 3 districts, or 3 council districts in the whole county that raise this money. This is District A, E, and F. And it's Aberdeen and Havre de Grace. Blair don't raise any, you know, the areas don't raise any because they don't have any hotels, you know. So, my bill, I'm trying to get a bill passed. I haven't introduced it yet, but still talking to the council. I want to try to get half that money paid or spent in District A on some events or some facilities here. That would give us half of $685,000. We'll see where that goes. And also, Aaron's got a bill on chickens. If he wants to talk about his chicken bill, I kind of like his chicken bill, so I co-signed on on his bill for him, so I don't wanna take his, lead, so I'll let him talk about his chicken bill. On the bottom of the first page, you notice Edgewood, Joppatowne. I noticed, I looked up the population change in the two areas. I'm really surprised at the Edgewood change. I knew the Joppatowne change would probably, at all levels, be down, and over 65 would be over, because it's kind of becoming a senior community. But funny, look at the Edgewood, it's the same thing. All age groups are down some percent, and the age 65 and over are actually more than Joppatowne. Joppatowne is only 32%, and Edgewood's just 59%. Going over to the next page, you got a community cleanup up in Edgewood. We were all there, myself and County Executive Cashley and Councilman Penman here. We were all there 8:30 Saturday morning, cleaning up all around Lake Serene. We had trash bags and pickup, and we went all through there picking up everything. Thank you, Miss Miller. Where'd she go? There she is. She's talking. She listening. She put it all together for us. She called me up a couple of weeks ago, and she said, Dion, I need some, what'd you need? What'd you tell me you needed? The dumpsters, right?
Yes.
So I got her 3 dumpsters, we put them all around, and we did a lot of cleanup for Edgewood last Saturday. The Copper Field House, we talked about up on the screen there, that's full board, that's finally underway. If you go by there and see the construction, you're gonna see a lot of heavy equipment there. There's gonna be 8 sport fields there, 8 sport fields. I mean, when you think about that for a minute, you think about Raven Stadium and the size of that field, and then there's gonna be 8 fields there. And they should be done in about a year and a half. They're gonna be all turf fields, they're gonna be lights on them, they're gonna have stands. They already got the parking done, just up there the other day. All the parking lots are already done there, so they're moving along pretty quick. So
I have a quick question about that. Can I? Hold on.
Let's
Yeah.
wait till he gets done.
Okay.
Let me try to get the,
Let him run through some of
I got a lot on here, but I'm trying to scoot down. On back here, Woodbridge Station Clinic, you'll see an advertisement on the page all about that. And on the back page, I want to give the county executive and the county an attaboy. If you look at this thing on the back page about a work day, this is a work day where nobody in the community has to do any work. They come in, and the entire staff from Parks and Rec is going to come into the Maryland Point Park, and they're going to do a complete cleanup that day. And they invited me over so I could watch. I don't want to overwork myself.
Yes, sir. Email from Terry Hamlin.
That's Terry Hamlin. So that's really great. They do that, and they go out through the county and do that a lot. So with that, I'm going to try to skip over all this stuff because it's all down here for you to read, and hope you had a chance to read. That's the reason we passed it all out to try to speed this up a little bit so everybody gets a copy, you read it, you can answer questions. So
Let's take that question and then Aaron.
and then we'll let Aaron go.
Ma'am,
No, you can go ahead. I read it.
Oh, okay. Aaron?
All right, that's probably the fastest I ever heard you talk.
I'm trying.
It is a record.
It is a record. A couple things, and they're listed in this county printout from Council President Pat Cindy's office. The 911 fee, it was passed last meeting, and what that does is every month your phone, before you were charged 75 cents, you're going to be charged $1.50 per line on your phone bill, and the money will be going to the general fund of the county. So here's the backside of that. It doesn't seem like a lot of money, but 75 cent extra, $1.50 per line. You got a family of 5, that adds up. Plus, if you have businesses, if a business is with 300 landlines and 300 cell phones, you know, a lot of times that's going to be passed down to consumers. So that's a fee increase on the 911, but it did get passed last week. There also is a trash tipping fee that is being proposed. That public hearing was last week as well. That's gonna come down to, about $7.50 extra for your trash removal, a month. So, each time you go to the landfill, it's gonna be additional amount, that's gonna be a fee increase, the county overall, that 911 fee and the tipping fee is gonna generate about $12 million for the general fund for the county. So if you have any concerns or questions, just email myself or, Councilman Guthrie. The chicken legislation, I never saw myself introducing chickens legislation. I don't have any chickens, I don't want any chickens, but right now, the code allows anyone who has 2 acres or above to have chickens. And chickens are identified or defined in the livestock. So we're breaking that out of livestock and allowing anyone in any zoning district from 1 acre above. So 1 acre to 2 acres, you're allowed to have 10 chickens. There are some coop restrictions because we don't want just free roaming chickens in your backyard. I think there's some misconceptions where people thought I was taking away the right for people to have chickens. That's not true. Some people called me and said, I got a half acre and chickens and you're not gonna allow, and I'm like, you weren't ever allowed to have chickens on a half acre. So,
No roosters.
Yeah, no roosters. And Dion's co-sponsoring that with me. That public hearing is tomorrow night. So if you want to come, give input, because there are a few amendments. I look forward to any feedback, good or bad, so we can change this legislation if we need to. And
Add chickens or subtract chickens, whatever you want to do.
The budget, we had budget hearings, 4 sessions last week. Gloria was there, she was a citizen advisory member, and we went through every department in the county, every department that's funded by the county budget came in, did a presentation where the money's going from. So myself, the other council members are carefully reviewing the budget, trying to evaluate what's been cut through, obviously, the school board, a couple other, the sheriff's office, the state's attorney, and the libraries, the college. A lot of them are flat, some of them have been cut. We're just trying to look and see if that was appropriate or not. We're gonna be having, as Sam mentioned, on May 4th, 7 p.m. and May 10th, 7 p.m., public hearing for public comment to come talk about the budget. So we're looking forward to that. And also, close out with this and then questions. Tomorrow night, we do have a new legislation that's being introduced, and that is term limits for council members. So, term limits for council members, I'm hoping to get enough support on the council for it. And what that is, we've compromised 3 terms on the council, and then you have to move on. Now, you can do 3 terms as a council member district, and then you can move over to council president for 3 terms, but it's 3 terms. There's no consecutive, there's no sequential, you can't take 4 years off and come back. So I'm hoping to get the support of the council. I think I might have enough. But that, be on the lookout for public hearing for that. It's being introduced tomorrow night, and then about 30 days later, there will be public comment on that. So with that, oh, I did want to give you kudos, attaboy. During the public hearing, Councilman Guthrie was strong on the county on making sure that you get a youth center in Joppatowne. County executive had him on the line for a little while, pushing it. We did see a spot in the Parks and Rec budget where it allows $1.6 million for site acquisition that has to be spent in Parks and Rec. So that's something that we're going to be looking into to try to advocate for at least the land purchase in the Joppa area for a community center. So it's not there yet, but we're working on it. So with that,
The only thing I want to add to that is, we talked about that swim club so many times, so I said, well, I'm gonna make one last effort. So I called that Pastor whatever he is, and I called him up to talk to him about it, and I think he paid $900,000 for it.
He
Last
paid
I saw
7
it.
and change.
Pardon?
He paid 700 and
Whatever the
36,000.
number is. And then he immediately put it up for sale for $1.6 million. Well, we weren't gonna buy it because we couldn't, because the county, only, you have to get an estimate on the property, 2 estimates, and you can't pay more for a piece of property, more than the highest estimate. The highest estimate was $900,000, and he wanted $1.6 million. So I said, well, I'll take a shot. He's been sitting. Now, mind you, this has been 10 years. You believe that? It's been 10 years since he's bought that property, and there he ain't turned a shovel of dirt. The only dirt he's brought in is to fill up the pools, cause he was worried about a kid might go in there and fall in the pool and hurt herself, you know, maybe get killed. So he filled it up with dirt, and that's all he's done in 10 years. So I said, well, maybe he's a little short of money or something, he might wanna sell it. I called him up and he said, oh, you're interested? I said, yeah, well, we might be. I said, I gotta talk to you. And you know what he told me he wants for it? $5 million. I said, good luck, pal. And then he said, well, go over by that church that's over by Magnolia Elementary, the white church across the street, because they're asking $5 million for it. And if you go by that, I'll trade you. I said, so I'll have a church, a completely done church, and I'm gonna trade you that property for your property, which ain't got a damn thing on it. I said, you're talking to a guy who negotiated hundreds of collective bargaining agreements. You think you got that by me, pal, you'll find somebody else. Hung up.
All right, with that.
Any questions, any more?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
I spoke to you the other day about, CVS, about them fixing that ceiling and doing, opening the drive-through back up and making it so it's not 30 people in line when you go there. So they have
Talking
both
about the
open.
one in Edgewood?
Yes. And, you told me you would look into it. I
Yes,
was wondering if you spoke to anybody.
I'm looking into that. That's my pharmacy. I go there all the time.
Mine too.
You
That's
know,
why
and
I
I-
want to do it.
So what I do is I go down the other aisle where they don't have the leak.
So where can you talk to them?
There was work on the roof today, I was there
Oh, you
today,
put it
yesterday or
yesterday?
today, and there were
Yeah.
people up on the roof. I
We
think that's
put
what
a
we-
call
So
in,
the inside, is that hole gone? On the
I don't know,
inside?
but they were up on the roof, I saw the men upstairs, you
Because
know,
there's a hole on the inside.
I didn't see that, I wasn't looking for that.
But they always have one, they have no staff in the pharmacy.
We put a call in there yesterday. I had Debbie put a call into them yesterday.
All right, thank you, Paul.
Just a comment. Okay, the, first page, Dion, when you talk about the population shift.
Yes.
So, I'd like to at some point drill down into that to determine how that factors into economic development and other planning activities that we have for these areas. Because if you look at this, we have a decrease in the number of kids, school-aged kids, and an increase of those 65 and older. So we want to talk about how that factors into development.
Yeah, good point.
Second thing is the tipping fee and the phone bill fee. How is that per month? So I currently pay I have private service. So does that mean that my service is gonna increase?
So what happens is, right now, your private service is picking up your trash and then collecting it and then taking it up to actually the trash facility down in Eastern, off of 40, I think it's the Eastern, dump down there in Baltimore County. So counties, they're currently paying $70 a ton. So now it's gonna be charged $117 a ton. So that's gonna come down on you per month, $7.50. Most time, trash collection is, you pay quarterly, so you're paying, $22.50.
So the other one is the, okay, that's, now, the term limit, down to 12 years versus, it's 3 terms.
Yeah, so currently, the county executive is the only one in the county that has term limits.
Right.
With the caveat, so the county executive can run 2 terms, take 1 term off, and then run another 2 terms. This would allow, if it were to pass, the council members to run 3 terms. You can do 1 term, take 1 off, run another term,
3 is
but
it.
3 is it, and then you have to.
So how does that impact retirement? So right now, you gotta do 20 to get retirement pay. So now they don't get retirement.
Well, it's not a 20-year retirement for the council. Right now, at 10 years, the council is eligible for retirement, but it's very small.
Okay.
So you get 1.5%.
So we don't save any money.
Yeah, 1.5% of your salary per year.
We won't
after
take
you
a
get to
pension
10
away,
years.
Yeah.
So, in a perfect world, I say 8 years
Your
and you're out.
pension.
I have no problem with that at all. But right now, to get it to where I think it can pass, I have to compromise.
Got it, okay, that's it, that's all.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, good evening, Edgewood Joppatowne family.
I wasn't expected to say anything tonight, so I apologize for my appearance.
You look like that.
I just, real quickly, I guess next week or next month.
I'll have you on the agenda, yeah, I apologize, I know since you're somebody, I didn't know you were being tonight, otherwise.
Absolutely. So, once again, I'm Delegate Andre Johnson. I represent District 34A, which is Edgewood, Joppatowne, Belcamp, Aberdeen, and Havre de Grace, the entire Route 40 corridor, right? So I just want to let you all know that I am here for the community. Whatever the community needs, then I'm here for you all. They have placed me on, get this because we've been talking about it all night, Economic Matters down in Annapolis. So I want to work with my local partners. I reached out to my local partners. I've had a conversation with, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
No, you're fine. You're okay.
Keep going.
You're good.
Okay, so I reached out to the county council president to talk to him in reference to revitalization of the Route 40 corridor, right? So in economic matters, I'm also placed on business rate, alcohol, everybody loves alcohol, and unemployment insurance. So those are the subcommittees that I'm on. So in order to get our community up and running, I am here to do whatever it takes. For the first time in history, ladies and gentlemen, we have a district office right here in the local area. I have currently set up my district office right here in the Edgewood area. It's right on Edgewood Road and Willoughby Beach. You have the 7-Eleven on one side, you have the business complex on the other side of the building there. My office is, my address is 500 Edgewood Road, Suite 204. I'm there all the time, okay? If you need to come by my office, if you need to talk to me, whatever, if you have any legislation, state legislation, that you want me to push, then we can sit down and we can discuss pushing that state legislation. Also, if you have a pen or a pencil, please write this down. The office telephone number is, and they gave me a weird office telephone number, 667-284.
Wait a minute, 667-284.
8620. Okay? And my email address is andre.johnson@house.maryland.state.
House.state.md.us. Hang on. Andre.johnson@house.state.md.us.
That's it.
This is why you watch the live stream.
So next.
Do you have cards?
No, I didn't bring, I wasn't expecting to talk tonight, so I didn't bring any cards or anything like that.
Got Pastor Johnson rolling over his grave.
So, next month, just be advised that I'll talk briefly about the budget, tax relief, public schools, education, higher education, healthcare, SNAP benefits, public safety, cybersecurity, and climate change. So those are some of the things that I'll talk about. Also, what my committee went through this past session, which was 90 days of my knees shaking because I didn't know what I was getting into. Is we did a heavy lift on, of course, like it or love it, cannabis reform. Okay, so I'll be talking about cannabis reform next month. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Ms. Palmer. Yes, so the address once again to the district office is 500 Edgewood Road. Okay, and that's in Edgewood, Maryland. And
Suite 204.
Suite 204. So with that, if anyone has any questions for me, I'll be available to answer any questions. If not, I'll turn it back over to you, Ms. Paula. Thank you all so very much, and have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, Mary, do you have anything? No. Hanson? Jim?
Yeah, I got a couple things. One I'm gonna add what Ron was talking about. If you have like these power bikes, you gotta recharge them, or slide boards, unplug them at night when you go to bed. Do not leave them charged up. They are catching fire. There's been houses all through the United States. You don't know when it's gonna happen. So if you got a power like a slide board or a power bike, do not charge it while you're asleep. Unplug it, please. Yes.
Is there any damage, is there any risk at, our hand tools, hand drills, is there any risk at those battery chargers?
Not as much, but there's these solid state batteries, there's a danger of them catching fire, yes. The deal is, when it's up fully charged, unplug it. Don't leave it plugged in just to leave it plugged in. Plug it in, come up to full charge, unplug it. All right? There's been just enough fire, you never know when it's your turn. All right? And like discarded cigarettes off the trailer on fire in Brookside, the discarded smoking materials, the problem with all the construction today, it's all got laminates or something else. So what's really burning after it gets heated up is the methyl ethyl bad shit, we call it, but the fumes. And that's why it was up on the roof when they got there. And within about 5 minutes of it being alerted, it was already up in the roof. And that's how somebody saw it when they called it in. The second thing that's happened, the CAT executives following through last week, paid EMS service. As of last month, we basically have gone to paid EMS service. You heard the starting salary, $90,000 to $96,000. 66,000. By the time you add retirement and stuff, it's probably pushing 80,000 per employee. So from volunteers, we're now paying, and with that, also they've created a captain and 4 lieutenants to help manage it. Joppa and Belair and Aberdeen still have their paid crew that we've been paying for a good while, and the volunteer crews. What they're doing, they're no longer alerting the call, EMS call. They're alerting fire calls, and now they're gonna, as of today, they're starting to alert 1050 PIs on the fire side. So we'll know that. But we will not know if there's an ambulance call unless you've got a pager that you keep on all the time. Because they're not opening the pagers of the local fire company to say, hey, there's an ambulance call wherever it is. So that's what's going on. On top of that, with the backup of the ambulance and the short staff in the hospitals, there's no guarantee. Everybody thinks, I'll call an ambulance, I'll get in a hospital faster. One, if you are not a priority patient and you get in the ER, they're sending you over to the waiting room, right? Because they're short staffed and there's so many people stuck in the ER that they're waiting to get upstairs to get out of the ER. And that's an ongoing situation. So, I don't wish anybody any ill feelings, but you may call the ambulance here in the Joppa Edgewood area thinking you're going to Upper Chesapeake. You may wind up in Franklin Square, you might wind up in City Hospital. That's who's available and who's got beds. So that's real quick what's going down. All right, and I'll answer the trip up at Mountain Road Central with the landfill and the grinding and all, it's gotten better for them because they are using the upper entrance, but the other lower road is still being used for trucks lining up and waiting to get in. And so at 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, when you get a diesel truck sitting at your house, it ain't fun. I'll leave it at that right now.
Gloria? Oh, I'll pass.
Oh, you don't want your picture, Glory?
I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I'm glad we started a little early so we were able to get everybody in.
No, I'm glad to be here.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay. Very quick, I'm gonna try to run through this. First of all, people on the live stream, I'm sorry, I'm doing the best I can. The only microphone I have access to is on that phone because of the way that the network is set up here. We can move out of here and go somewhere else, or we can stay here, but you probably need somebody better than me with better technology, and maybe the sheriff's office needs to give us a little bit more technology. Talk to the county executive or these guys about that. Joppatowne Grow Community Garden is up and in full swing. If you need food or if you would just like to volunteer and be part of the community, that's at the Joppatowne Christian Church Building, 725 Trimble Road. I'm sure it's not up for harvest quite yet, but when harvest comes in, you can go and harvest your own food. The people who are there, joppatownegrow.com, you can get in touch with the gardeners there and get food that you need. I'm going to have a trivia game Sunday at 2 at my church building, 725 Trimble Road. If anybody wants to come, that's for community purposes. There are 2 community fairs coming up. Well, there's actually more than that. I'm sorry, I just know the Joppa ones. May 13th, Saturday, 12 to 2, is at Joppatowne Elementary School. There's a community fair. If you represent a community organization, I can get you in contact with them. You can go advertise and make sure that people in the school community know that they can draw on your resources to make a stronger community. There's also going to be one on May 25th, which is a Thursday evening from 4:30 to 6:30 between Magnolia Elementary and Magnolia Middle. And that's, again, I can get you that information. If you need my card, I have it. The Joppa Development and Heritage Corporation is going to meet on June 12th. We'll have another meeting of this board before then. But we also, just so everyone is aware, we started a legislative committee the last meeting we had. Gloria, I think, is helping out with that. Bill Temink is heading that up. So if you're interested in trying to get some legislation pushed through in our area, Edgewood, I'm sure we would be happy to work with too, but we're going to try to start focusing on some things to make sure that they have the force of law behind them, and then we'll go to our elected officials, whether it's county officials or state officials. So, any questions about the live stream? If you know how to do this better than me, trust me, I don't care. I don't need to do it. I just want it live streamed so people can see it. So.
Thank you.
Oh, and then also, good job with the trash cleanup. There's also 2, 3, how many food pantries do you have in Edgewood now?
We have 2. So they're open 24/7. It's located at the Edgewood Boys and Girls Club. One pantry is for the non-perishable foods, and then the original wooden structure is our essential toiletry pantry. So it's open, never locked, always stocked.
Yes, and we also have one near the garden at Joppatowne Grow that you're welcome to at all times.
I just want to make an announcement. Holy Spirit Church in Joppatowne is having their plant sale this Friday, 4 to 7, and Saturday, 9 to 12. So Friday is the best selection, but we'll have flowers on Saturday too.
Okay. Is it cash only?
No, cash and check.
Do you have any point?
So I have some exciting news. So I'm with CARES Community Inc. and
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you with the.
I'm Angelique with CARES Community Inc. Miss Felicia Hopkins with Minority Health has a youth symposium going on May 20th. I have a event that is going to be Gloves Up, Guns Down. And it's to help the youth and deter them into better choices. I couldn't do it alone because it's me against the world out here. So Miss Felicia Hopkins,
the health department
is
the Harford County Health Department.
The health department is I'm gonna say you guys are doing it, and I'm just here. But it is going to be at Aberdeen Festival Park, so the information is going to be posted online. We are in desperate need of volunteers. It is 2 adults per every 25 children. So we are hoping that we can get some more funding and donations in, so we can take the 100 children that they initially set out to be part of the program and to be able to extend that. But in order to keep order and to make sure that everything can run smooth, we do need those volunteers on hand, and it is going to be May the 20th. I will say that the event is going to run later on in the evening, which when the official flyer comes out, there will be more details on there. If you have an organization that helps with the youth, you know, we do have 20 vendor spaces that you will be able to go and showcase. So all of those links are going to be not only on the health department's information, but also here with me at Cares Community. And you can find us on Facebook at Cares Community Inc.
Joppatowne Rec Council, JoppatowneRec.org. We are currently accepting registrations for swim, soccer, football, and cheerleading. And you will go on the website and click on your program and then go to Team Snap to register. So all those 4 programs are currently open for registration.
Okay.
Just one thing, and as a last resort, just remind everybody, tomorrow morning between 8 a.m. and about 2 p.m., avoid Route 7, avoid Abingdon Road, anything around the Abingdon Firehouse or the church there. We are doing there's going to be a massive funeral for one of our members that just passed away recently. It was very sudden. You're gonna be stuck in traffic between 8 and roughly 2, anywhere around Abingdon Firehouse, Abingdon Road, funeral home, and the St.
The Catholic Church on Abingdon Road.
Yeah, the Catholic Church right there on Abingdon Road.
St. Francis
Just let you know, avoid that now, because there's gonna be people coming in, equipment coming from all over the state of Maryland. Linda Dusa was very well known and very much involved in this community.
Anybody else?
Who died in
Linda Dusa.
the
Daddy.